Write my stuff while that's starting up. What? In the butt.
Oh.
Remember that, right?
Okay.
You remember that?
No. Oh, wait.
Whatever. That's what it is. I'm not going to let that on the air because I don't know if that's copyrighted.
Oh.
It could very well be copyrighted. I just said what in the butt, and you'll know what I mean. Hi, and welcome back to the Rewatch Recap, where we recap shows for nostalgia and pure amusement. I'm Dustin, here with my good fella. I'm going to say good fella. You're a good fella. Don't you whack you.
I'm a good fella.
Kay.
Hi.
Of Fuck My Work Life fame. And there should be a new episode coming out soon, so I'm going to stick with it. Okay. And you're also TikTok's Kay.
Yes.
That's all I like to say. TikTok's Kay.
TikTok's Kay. Very famous TikTok Kay.
Very. Everybody knows her. You should know her. Check her out at Spooky K. No, wait.
It's still, I mean, it's technically the handle's still FMWL pod, but like my name is K-FMWL.
That's right. At FMWL pod. Try that out. Yeah. Anyway, so we are back with another episode of Dead Like Me, Season 2, Episode 6. In fact, it's called In Escrow.
That's right.
So it kind of gives you away, like, something, we already know what's happening in this universe, like someone's trying to sell a house, so, you know. Anyway, yeah. I think the cat wants to be part of the show today.
He does.
So.
He started his new meds, and I think he's like, what the F?
Ghost is like, what? Yeah, he'll be good, though. He'll be good. So this originally aired on August 29th, 2004. And I do have a little bit of a trigger warning because of today's environment on gun laws and gun shootings and stuff like that. There is a scene of a gun shooting, but you only hear it, but it's still kind of upsetting. So if you decide to watch it, just be aware that it's there in case you don't like that kind of stuff. So there you go. Anyway, Kay is doing this recap, and I'm going to let her take it away from here. Let's do this. Previously on, George helped Dolores get a pay raise by rising to the occasion at Happy Time. Daisy is seeking faith. Joy is selling the house. Mason is trying not to be the up he is. Roxy learned a little bit about compassion on the job, and Rube got upset by a returned letter from 70 years ago. And now, Dead Like Me opening! And
it's George! Or we did something else. My hands look huge. I'm from this angle.
I know. I don't know what mine look like. I can't really see. But okay, now we are back and take it away, Kay.
Okay, so we start with George narrating, "When I was a kid, I took ballroom dancing. My mom said it would stay with me for life, but all I remember is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. George walks into Der Waffle House past an elderly couple that are just ballroom dancing in the middle of the diner.
Like you do.
Like you do. And she joins the group as Rube is arguing with Tiffany about how he can't get blueberry pancakes because they're seasonal, but he learns that the blueberries are actually frozen. So what the F doesn't matter if they're seasonal or not because they're not
I
fresh
agree.
blueberries.
You can keep them all year.
Yeah. And then George orders a Jane Mansfield, which turns out to be 2 blueberry muffin tops side by side, strategically placed, with 2 strategically placed blueberries that look like a large rack. Which is just,
I didn't even notice the blueberry strategically.
Oh, yeah.
I can't say it now either.
They were
strategically placed.
But then she finds out that her reap is at an ice skating rink, but all she has on is a light jacket. And Roxy is making fun of Daisy about her newfound, I guess, religion or faith, and tells her that maybe she could pray her up a pair of mittens and a cute scarf. And Daisy says, "That's not what prayer's for, Roxy." And she's like, "It's not for making you feel better after you And Rube is like, "What is going on between you two?" And Roxy says, "Ask the nice little Catholic girl who likes to steal jewelry from the dead." And it turns out that the old lady's family, the one that Daisy stole the necklace off of, is blaming the police department for stealing it. So Roxy's upset.
So they noticed that. Apparently, that was apparently a thing that. Not good.
Yeah. I mean, they could have totally blamed it on those kids that were roughing her up before she got squished by the garbage.
I mean, but they would have searched them, I guess.
Yeah. But I feel like Roxy's kind of like, she's probably the most of the on the up and up of the Reapers. So she just, wants Daisy to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's true.
At the ice skating rink, there's kind of like a hockey practice. I wrote hokey. There's a hokey practice happening. And you got your typical kind of talking coach ribbing all the players. He's like, "Good shot, Andy. You suck. My mother has a better slap shot and she's dead." It's like,
I mean,
nice
what
coach.
The hell, dude? Chill out.
Right? This is like, probably like a teenage hockey, league. Like, calm the F down.
I've never understood why you have to like berate anybody. I don't care if they're adults. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, you can be like, "Oh, what's going on?" But not like make them feel bad about themselves.
"Let's talk about your feelings, Andy, and maybe we can get a better slap shot." I get what you're saying. I'm just I totally agree. I'm just with you. I've had anxiety all day, okay? So I'm gonna be weird tonight.
That's fun. It's fun.
Okay. So then we see the Zamboni come out on the ice, and he's like telling the coach that their time is up. And we find out that, George discovers this coach is her reap for the day. And she gets out on the ice with a group of figure skating, like younger girls. And the coach kind of pulls Andy aside. He's giving him a hard time. But Andy is more interested in George. He's like, "How you doing?" Hey. Yeah. And she kind of like skates by kind of into the coach, brushing up against him and claiming his soul. And then the coach asks one of the figure skaters if she thinks she can play better than Andy. And she gives it back to him. She's like, "No, but I bet I can play better than you." So,
I mean, whoa.
Yeah, she's sassy. So, like, he gives her a stick, tells her to pass the puck to him. He shoots it towards the goal where there is a Graveling kind of acting as goalie.
Yeah.
Deflects the puck. It hits the Zamboni driver in the head. He slumps forward onto the accelerator and runs over the coach, essentially melting him into the ice. Like, he is like implanted in the ice.
Do you not feel like, especially this season, like the Gravelings are like more of like a Rube Goldberg machine thing?
Yeah,
because before it was like they just loosened the rope and the thing fell, but now it's like this thing affects this thing, affects this thing, kind of like Final Destination.
Yeah, but I feel like they're like way more actively involved too. Like,
yeah, we're seeing them more now, like directly.
Yeah, definitely. But also, like, would that Zamboni melt that dude into the ice? I feel like it would just real smush him.
Yeah, I don't know if it's hot, because it is hot, right? Because it's kind of smooths the ice, so it has to be a little warm to smooth it.
Maybe the combination of the body heat and the anyway, he's sunken into the ice. But now his soul is standing there with George, and he asks if he was dead and why he was killed. And she's like, "I don't know. I don't make the rules. I just play for them." And she tells him, "Chalk it up to bad timing, coach."
True that.
And then she narrates, "Life and death was a kind of game, kind of like duck, duck, goose. Duck, duck, dead. We're all just a step away from that dreaded tap on the head. We're all just trying not to get caught," which is also very true.
Yeah, that's true.
Now at Happy Time. And this is a scene. This is why I can't watch more than one episode in a week that I confused with what you were talking about last episode.
Okay.
So now George is playing a game of jacks on her desk with a rubber band ball and binder clips.
Yes, yes.
She's made her own game of jacks. And Dolores walks up asking if she's interrupting. And she tells George that they've got a new pharmaceuticals account and they're about a week away from a major drug launch. And George, in her new role, is now in charge of picking the candidate. George is shocked by this new development. And Dolores says, "You're like the prettiest girl at the prom. Or the sluttiest girl, if you went to Catholic school. You get to pick."
I love her so much.
She
Or the
just
sluttiest girl.
She gets more and more unhinged. And I
just
love it.
She's letting her freak flag fly with Millie. So she's like, yeah, let's do this. I love her big. I love her.
She is the best. At the last house, the real estate agent is telling Joy and Reggie that their house has sold. And Reggie asks if they made a lot of money. And then she asks the real estate agent if she made a lot of money. And she's like, "Do you want to know what my commission is, Reggie?" And Joy is like, "Yeah, you can tell her." She's like, "I make 5% of the selling price." And Reggie's like, "What a scam. I want your job when I grow up." And Joy rudely just goes, "No, you don't." The real estate agent.
That woman looks at her. She goes, "I'm not." She doesn't even say sorry. She's like, "I'm not taking that back." You know, I'm like that though.
Brutal.
I will do that. It's like, I said it. And I meant it when I said it. Sorry.
So brutal. Reggie wonders where they're going to live, but then she learns about their 45-day escrow. So Joy tells her that they'll have time to find a place. And she kind of has to explain what escrow is. And she uses some sack lunch thing. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go to Mason. Mason is in the hallway of an apartment building, and he's passing another guy that he sees has a Post-it, and he kind of freaks out, and he throws this guy up against the wall, and he's like, "You know, you got a Post-it, I have a Post-it." And he looks at his Post-it, and it's the same address as his, but it says used records cheap. So he realizes, like, this guy just wrote down an address on a Post-it to go buy to go buy used records.
He flipped out.
He lost his mind.
What is wrong with you?
Like, I wonder if he's kind of on edge because he's still trying to be sober, I think, for the most part. And so he might be like a little withdrawal-y and on edge because he's kind of...
Or he's trying to wean himself off maybe a little bit or something.
Yeah. So the guy says to Mason, "Man, that ain't even worth it unless you're into that vintage 60s British thing." And he's like, "Wait, I'm a vintage 60s British thing, so f*** off."
I love when you do the British accent. It's great.
And then he goes and he knocks on the door. And we go back to George's first interview with Michael. And she's trying really hard to be professional, but Michael is just constantly audibly farting, and it's gross. And I hate fart humor, and I hate this entire scene.
I'm like, okay. He goes, okay. So he comes in, he's farting, and he says, if there's any technical stuff that comes up, I'm your man. And at that moment, I was watching this on my phone. At that moment, I guess it buffered or something, and it made it sound all digital. And he's like, if any stuff comes up, I'm your man. Like, I was like, that's weird. But also, this guy that plays Michael played Mr. Smee, Captain Hook's right-hand man on Once Upon a Time.
Okay, he looked familiar, like he's one of those actors that's been in like a lot of things, like an episode here and there.
Yeah.
I bet you he has in a Buffy too. Yeah. Has he been in a Buffy? He's probably been in a Buffy and a Law and Order.
Oh, everybody's been in Law and Order. That's probably a given, but I don't think he's been in Buffy.
Yeah. So he's flatulating, and she tells him like, this isn't an interview for a morning radio show, but he says that he has IBS and is protected by the Americans with Disabilities Act. And that's all I'm going to say about this scene because I hate it.
It makes me mad that he uses that as a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I have Crohn's. I'm pretty sure that's covered under that as well.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know. I don't have IBS, so maybe it is uncontrollable, but he's just like...
Well, IBS is a generic term. It doesn't mean anything.
That's true. It's just like if they can't figure out what's wrong with your stomach.
I'm farting a lot. That's basically it. Like,
stop eating beans.
And stop drinking sodas and just like chill out.
Yeah. But there also could have been like, I'm really sorry, I have a stomach issue. But, he's just like looking at her, just going at it. And I'm like, gross,
like nothing's going on. And like, this is rude. You could at least say, by the way, I have IBS. So if you hear something, it's what it is.
Yeah, I'm really sorry.
That's all you got to do.
You might want to open a door. Yeah.
You might
Turn a
want to
fan
keep the
on.
fan going pointed
Yeah.
in that direction.
Yeah. Now we're back with Mason, and he's in the apartment of his Reap, which is like a Billy Idol looking dude. And he's going through all the records that are supposedly for sale. But each one he picks up, the guy is like, anything but that one. Anything but that one. So,
Yeah, I'm like, what, are you selling these or not, dude?
right. And then through going through this, Mason discovers that this guy is actually Gideon Jeffries of the Churchyard, which was one of Mason's favorite bands when he was alive, like some kind of British rock band. And Gideon says, like, oh, don't tell me you're another long lost child of some groupie because I'm tapped out. Try Jagger. He's still touring. And Mason kind of has to make up a story about how his uncle used to talk about the band constantly, and that's how he became such a fan. And then there's a knock at the door, and Gideon asks him for $20 for quote unquote Chinese food. And when he opens the door, there's a man there with a very small bag. And he's like, egg rolls. And he like looks at Mason. He's like, you look like you like Chinese food. You want some Chinese food? And now we know it's definitely not Chinese food.
Yeah, and it's like, here's my card. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, and he actually says no. And Gideon also offers it to him. He's like, can I offer you a bite? He's like, I'm trying to cut back, mate. All that MSG, toxic, really bad for you. And I'm like, Mason, good job, buddy.
Our boy is learning.
Yeah, he's like there with one of his idols from when he was alive with this opportunity to
But you
get
know what?
high with
In that
him.
moment, he doesn't need the high because he's already on one meeting this
True.
guy.
Yeah.
So it kind of balances itself out. He's able to think clearly, like, I don't need this.
And he knows what's coming too. So
Yeah.
yeah, he probably wants to try
That
to
kind of
stay
influences your
level-headed.
decision, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah. But like, good job, buddy. I was proud of him. So now we're back to Joy and Reggie, and they're walking somewhere downtown. And Reggie tells her that she can't believe that she sold our lily pad. And Joy's like, what are you talking about? And she says, Mrs. Rodriguez says that frogs like to stay on one lily pad until another lily pad drifts by. She said they don't really like to swim. That's where the danger is, the pond. And Joy's like, what is your point? And she's like, ribbit, we're in the pond.
We're in the pond.
And it's true. Like, they sold their house. They don't have a place to go.
Yeah. They're kind of like,
Sorry, bud. Yeah. Kind of limbo.
limbo.
In limbo.
In escrow.
Escrow limbo. And then this woman kind of rudely bumps into him and goes towards a door. And Reggie's like, what's that? And she's like, that's kind of a place that people downtown live. Has Reggie never been downtown?
I mean, if you got Sesame Street, you would get this. Like, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is people live in apartments. They don't have houses here.
People live down here. But then she's like, you know what? It could be fun. Let's just, because there was a for rent sign on the window. Let's just go take a look.
Yeah.
See what downtown people live like.
Downtown.
Where the do.
Oh, yeah.
You doing the other one? I was doing a little shop.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that one, but there's also like where you can go downtown. I did it the wrong way. But I did it like yours.
Downtown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, don't sue us.
But they're downtown. Anyway.
Yeah, they're downtown. Now we're on to George's next candidate, who is a very direct Chechnyan man. And she tells him the job will be very demanding and stressful. And he says he was a doctor in Chechnya. He was bombed, tortured. Electrodes were attached to his testicles. It's just like, okay, so you got pressure.
Okay, TMI, but okay.
And that if he doesn't get this job, he'll lose his visa and have to go back. So everyone is like...
This feels very relevant as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's ironic.
And then now we're in the downtown apartment, and Joy is talking to the good-looking, artsy, I guess, landlord?
Or owner, or...
Yeah.
He might be subleasing or something. I don't know.
Not quite sure. Whoever's showing her the apartment. And they're kind of chatting as Reggie's excitedly looking around.
Yeah, this dude is... Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So she's like, where would my room be? And he's like, upstairs. She runs up there to go look. And then Joy asks him if the neighborhood is safe. And he's like, oh, is it just the two of you? And then Reggie comes back and says, her room is huge, and asks him if they allow dogs. And he's like, oh, you can't move in without one. So she's all happy about that. he says to Joy, I guess she likes it, and she doesn't like anything. Joy kind of
I
looks at him
know.
like, what?
Huh?
he's a
And
little,
that's one of those ones you're like, wait, did he say that, or am I imagining it? Like
yeah,
that's one of those ones you can kind of brush off until he keeps going, and you're like,
until he keeps going, yeah. And then Joy, he tells Joy that she should come back at night and get a feel for the place then. And then he asks Reggie, like, what's your dog's name? And she's like, JD. Oh, what does that stand for? Just dog. He's like, that's cool. I like golden retrievers. And then even Reggie's like, okay, weirdo. We don't ever find out what the deal is. Like, is he
we
just
don't. It's
psychic
random.
or like just super and like it's weird.
It's like
It's
they
weird.
started the storyline and then they decided in
Mhm.
editing, oh, we need to take this part out, and then we just won't mention it ever again.
Yeah, I was really hoping that was going to go somewhere, but no, he just drops like two little intuitive things, and then it's like, okay,
Yeah. All right.
all right, buddy. Now we're back at
Psychic.
Dur Waffle House. Roxy and Daisy are talking about her cross necklace again, and Roxy tells her it's an expensive family heirloom and she needs to give it back, but Daisy refuses. And Roxy's like, you've got good taste. It's a beautiful cross. Thing's going to burn a hole clean through your neck to the back of your spine. Oh, my Roxy.
I love Roxy gives some visuals. That's great.
She does. So George is now kind of chit-chatting with Dolores and Crystal at the front desk about Michael, the IBS guy. And Crystal and George are kind of cracking jokes, but Dolores says IBS is a serious condition and that most people don't know that Marilyn Monroe had it, to which George responds, is that what blew her dress up? Which was so good. It's a good one, George. But just then, George's third candidate, Margaret, arrives.
Oh,
And
Margaret.
she's an older woman, and behind her back, Dolores like mouths old and does the like neck cutting thing. And I'm like, excuse me, Dolores,
You're no spring chicken.
yeah, I'm guessing you're probably around the same age as this woman. But Margaret knows that she's on the older side, and she says at her age, she's lucky to even get a call returned. And then she says, I guess it's true what they say about the magical superpowers a woman gets when she turns 50. And Dolores is like, what's that? And she says, she could disappear.
It's funny, but it's true.
Oh, I'm so sad. But 50, I am only 3 years away from 50.
Yeah, but you know, this woman's haggard looking. Like she looks like she pulled a suit out of the closet from 20 years ago. You know,
Yeah, I mean, she's been caring for parents, that we find out.
she's stressed. You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, not saying you're not stressed, but you know, it's different kind of stress.
But also, too, I think as time goes on, this kind of the slower we age, you know, with health and lifestyle and stuff.
We learn about like what's best to put in our bodies, what's best to care for our skin, all that stuff. So
50 in the 80s. Well, like Wilford Brimley was 50 in Cocoon.
Yeah.
And he looks old.
I know. Well, that's like when you look at like somebody's high school yearbooks from like the 80s or the 60s, and like they look like so old as children.
Yeah. And now people in high school look like little tiny babies.
I know, but they're trying to look older. That's the sad thing. It's weird.
Yeah. So we find out that Margaret's been caring for her aging parents who have now passed, and now she needs to get back into the workforce. So now jump back to Gideon's apartment.
Oh, hold on one second. I got to talk about this real quick.
Okay.
So I understand it's hard to like get back out there into like either the workforce or the social scene or something after doing something like that and being so involved. Obviously, because I care for my mom and I was there all the time. And but she like says this thing. She says like, now I've lived with death for so long that I need to feel alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's a good way to put it, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like, George, you've got to hire this woman. You understand this.
I know.
I just had a feeling like she should pick this woman, but this woman kind of goes too far. Anyway, go back to the apartment.
Yeah, they all go a little far. Back at Gideon's apartment, Mason's still kind of going on and on about how much he idolizes him and how Gideon created the power stance, which Mason recreates, which is just basically his arm up in the air while he's playing guitar. And Gideon's just kind of over it, and he tells them that he wants to go eat his Chinese, but we see he has like a needle in his hand. And Mason tells him that his uncle, aka Mason, idolized him and was always chasing his permanent high, and he wanted to go out like his heroes. And Gideon asks how that ended up for his uncle, and Mason says he ended up in a churchyard. And then he kind of grabs the guy's shoulder, claiming his soul, and asks if he ever achieved the ultimate high. And he said he's still waiting. He's like, that's sad.
It's sweet. It's sad. I mean, I kind of got disappointed. Like, we don't get to see this guy's lights, but
yeah, they kind of don't do it every time. I feel like it's rare now that there are lights.
It's like some of them I really want to see. I was like, ooh, I wonder what they have. But
so George is at her desk, and she's eeny, meeny, miny, mowing, trying to choose the candidates. She says, eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Catch a tiger by its toe. If he hollers, let him go. My boss said to pick the very best one. But who the is that? Just then she gets an email from Margaret with a picture of her with her ailing dad in a bed that just says, me and my dad 2 days before he passed. Sigh. Do I have a job? Girl.
Why would you send that picture? No, you don't do. Okay, please don't ever do that. If you're going to do a follow-up email, it shouldn't be the same day.
Yeah.
That was the same day, I think.
Same day, yeah.
So it should be like the next day or the day after, and just thanking them for the interview and the opportunity, and and you can say, I hope I hear from you soon. Blah blah blah. That's it.
Yeah.
But don't go any further than that. No. Like, they don't need to see pictures of your dying parents. My goodness,
they're really bad. And just as she's looking at that, Crystal walks up with like a casserole dish from the Chechnyan guy, and they open the lid, and it looks like maybe borscht or something. I don't know what it was, but she opens the lid and she said, it smells like it's from the other guy, meaning Mr. Reggie. Yes. And Dolores walks up and she says, gifts from applicants is a no-no. But she's really counting on her. And as she walks away, George resorts to rock, paper, scissors. I don't know how that works by yourself.
Unless you have another person, two other people, and they all represent somebody, and whoever comes out on top gets it.
Yeah. Now Mason and Gideon are still talking, and Mason asks him what the best part of being a rock star is, and he replies it's the same as the worst, the women, and that he had a wife and a family, but they left him due to all his indiscretions, and he blamed the drugs, saying they made him feel fearless and immortal. And Mason said, you made music, you are immortal. And then they look over at his dead body on the toilet. He is OD'd. And he says that he begs to differ. Then Mason tells them that he was at his show back in 65. And Gideon finally figures it out at that point. And Mason tells them that being immortal is not all that it's cracked up to be. And he asks if he can keep the record. Gideon tells him to take whatever he wants, but to please remove the needle from his arm before the police arrive, because he doesn't want his kids to see any pictures that are taken of him that way. And then he gives Mason one last power stance, and they're both power stancing together, and he winks at Mason and Mason winks at him, and it's really sweet, and I teared up a little bit.
Yeah, and the whole thing with the needle part, all you do is just kind of pull it out and make it look like it fell.
Yeah.
But
very sad. And now Daisy is in a confessional, and she's saying it's been 75 years since her last confession. And the priest is like, I don't think so. But she's confessing about her petty larceny and asks how many Hail Marys she needs to do. But he's kind of probing further. He asks her.
She's like, I need my penance. I need my penance.
Mm-hmm. He asks her, what she took, and she tells him a cross necklace from a dead person. And then she's trying to negotiate her penance, but he still wants to know more, and he asks her name and then what is really on her mind. And she says she's waiting for something, and the cross makes her feel closer to it. So we're kind of getting a little bit more insight as to why she's obsessed with these crosses now. And
there's a good quote he had, and it was in response to that, he goes, no matter what we're waiting for, he said, whether we're waiting for this or this or this, no matter what we're waiting for, quote, grace is passing by us every day, and we know not when the end of our days may be upon us. And I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. And I had that written down too. Since she's like, I know all about that, Father. I just want my penance. So he finally tells her 2 Hail Marys and an act of contrition, and she leaves.
Every time, I don't know anything about this. Like, I don't know all the stuff about Catholic, even though my mom was Catholic and my family, my mom's side is. But I don't know anything because I didn't pay attention. And I don't know, like the act of contrition just sounds like you should be whipped.
Yeah.
For some reason, that sounds
What is
act
it?
of contrition. Oh,
It's not flogging. What's it called? When
yeah,
they
I get. Well, kind
do
of.
they did it in what was that? Da Vinci Code, right?
Oh, I don't know.
It's not. I mean, it's flogging in other circles. I don't forget what it's called.
It's just flogging.
I forget what it's called when it's.
And that's not a new way to vlog, guys.
I'm gonna go flogging. Okay, George is.
Have you watched my vlog?
Hold my flog for me. George is still avoiding making a decision, and Dolores in the process. So she's in her cubicle. She sees Dolores and she hunkers down and she's kind of squat walking behind all the cubicles, and she walks right into Dolores. And Dolores is like, you need to hear this voicemail that was just left for me. So they go and they listen, and it's their client named Ned Benjamin, and he's cursing her out about his temp not being there. He's like, where's my temp, Dolores? I'm sitting on a volcano here. I'm on top of Mount St. Dolores. So he's not happy. Not a happy client. And just then, another gift arrives from Margaret, and it's a real freaking bunny with a card that says, hop on over to my side, which makes no fucking sense, Margaret, but okay. What the fuck?
There's a live animal for you to take care of. Don't give live animals.
Side.
Don't ever give live animals as gifts unless that person asks for one.
No, right? And Dolores tells her to pick someone and lose the rabbit. And then Michael arrives, and he wants to redo the interview. And he says that he won't sue Happy Time if he doesn't get the job, and that he's on a new medication that has been incredibly effective. And this is still the same freaking day, right?
Like, when did you get this medication? How bad was it before then?
Right. And just then he farts again, and he blames it on the rabbit.
Yeah, and he's like, did you hear that rabbit?
You hear the rabbit?
And Crystal's like, excuse me?
Yeah. At the last house, Joy has gotten a sitter for Reggie because she's going out. And Reggie asks her if she has a date. She says, no, an appointment. Do I look like I have a date? And Reggie goes, no. Do I look bad? No. So,
can I have pepperoni pizza?
Yeah.
No.
No. She's like, what's your problem with pepperoni?
I don't know. Maybe it's processed meat.
Yeah. Okay, Joy. She was not correctly named, but anyway. Now George is stress eating like a handful of licorice because she just can't make a decision. Dolores is leaving, and she says that the company needed someone today, but George wants to sleep on it. And she tells her, like, she's in charge. I'm going to go home and watch my shows. And
I love her for that.
Yeah. She's like, just do it. And then Crystal gets up to leave, and she's got the rabbit. She kind of looks at George like, I'm taking this rabbit. And then she just turns the lights off on George and leaves.
I was thinking that. Just give it to Crystal. She seemed to like really enjoy that rabbit.
She loved that rabbit.
Making faces at it. And,
I don't know if she's going to feed it Post-its and shit. I don't know.
Office supplies. Yeah. Do you like number 2 mentals?
Okay. Now we're back at the last house, and Reggie's there with the babysitter, who kind of looks kind of preppy, like she's sitting there working on homework. And Reggie's like, "Oh, we have cable. We've got the pay stations with cursing." And the babysitter's like, "Oh, wow, you're like really tough, aren't you?" And she's like, "My sister died."
Really?
Okay.
And that always grabs me. She knows exactly what to say to grab. That's her go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one's paying attention to me. My sister's dead. Okay, wow.
Dead. She tells her she died skydiving, but just then there's a knock at the door, and the sitter like looks out the window, and she's like, oh, she starts taking off her sweater, and all of a sudden she's like punk rock. She's got a studded belt and tattoos, and she tells Reggie that she has to leave for an hour and not to tell her mom. Takes off and leaves Reggie.
I'm like, you give me that hour's pay then, and I won't say a damn thing.
And now we see Joy, and she's back at the downtown apartment, and she's on the balcony with the cute dude. And he says, like, this time of year, you can see Saturn's rings with the naked eye. And he pulls out a bottle of wine and continues, if you've had enough to drink. He is.
I hit my elbow on the thing.
Oh.
Sorry.
So he is hitting on Joy.
Oh, yeah, he is.
And
Speaking of wine.
Yeah, he's like asking, oh, we had a drink.
Lunk.
Cheers.
Yum, yum. Cheers.
Mine's vodka.
It's alcohol.
So he asks her, if she plays music. No. Paint. No. Writer. No. And he's like, well, it's a shame because she looks like she has stories to tell. He asks her if she likes the place, and, she does, but she's still in escrow, so it's not a good time to want anything. So he asks her if she wants a glass of wine, and she, giggles. Joy giggled. I think that's the first time we've seen any kind of emotion other than anger out of her.
She wants some of that psychic D. That's what she wants.
Yeah, give me that psychic D.
Predict my orgasm. Let's do this.
Now we're back to Reggie alone at the house. It looks like she's watching some kind of scary movie, and she's hearing noises upstairs, and it looks like there might be a storm brewing, it's windy. The trees kind of hitting the house in the wind. But
this took me back to when I used to watch Unsolved Mysteries, and I was home alone, and I'm watching it, and it's dark hallways, and they're showing that the etched drawing of the killer, and it's zooming in on it, and it's hollowed eyes. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm looking over my shoulder.
He's outside.
Yeah. And I was like, I feel Reggie in this moment.
Yeah. And she's we find out later, she's 11. So she's still pretty young to be home all alone at night.
I was 8 or 9.
I was 2. But she's a young 11.
Yeah. Well, they sheltered her. That's the thing. You're sheltering these kids too much, and that's just made them weak.
Yeah. Freaking weak kids.
Take a punch. Come on, kids.
I mean, it is true. I have friends that have children, and they're like, oh, yeah, they can't. They're 15. Oh, yeah, they can't stay home alone. I was like, I was 9, and my parents bounced for the weekend.
I don't know about the whole weekend, but...
Oh, yeah, my dad did when I was 9, and then I had 2 older brothers, in 2 years older increments. So we were all very young, and my dad would be like, got a date for the weekend, bye.
Wow.
Okay. It was the 90s, man. So, yeah.
You got it easy, kids.
That's why I'm such an independent soul. Okay, so... But, okay, so all this stuff's happening at the house, and George kind of goes to... No, sorry. Reggie kind of goes to the stairs, and she looks up, and she's like, George? So she thinks everything is George. She's searching,
But you understand why, because there's been things that have happened that...
There have been things that have happened, and she hasn't been allowed to grieve.
Not properly.
That whole family has just been forget about it. She's gone. Yeah.
It's their story, their whole purpose for the show is learning how to grieve.
Yeah.
And not holding it in. That's their point, and then George is learning how to live.
Yeah. As a dead person. Yeah.
The irony is not, but still.
God, it's so sad. It was only 2 seasons. Okay. Excuse me. Now we're back to the downtown apartment. And the dude, I don't know if we ever learn his name. I can't remember. So I'm just going to keep calling him the dude.
Yeah, I don't think we got his name.
Yeah, I don't think so. But
he's psychic guy.
Yeah, psychic dude. He's drawn a very lifelike portrait of Joy, but he says that she has very pretty features. Very pretty and very sad. And she's like, she needs to get back to Reggie. And he tells her she worries too much. And she replies, yeah, why worry, right? 2 great girls, house in a nice neighborhood, the teacher. You make all the right choices and things fall apart. And then he quotes some Bible verse at her, and she's like, oh, that's Ecclesi blah, 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 whatever. She's like, that's the one part of the Bible I actually remember. It's about lists. And she finds lists very comforting. Lists. I don't know if I'm enunciating that.
She finds lists very comforting.
I had to enunciate that word. Lists. Lists.
Yeah.
Very comforting. A time to live, a time to die. And he says, there's that sadness again. And she's like, I really I want this apartment and I want this life. And he says he wants to draw one more picture. And she's like, okay, but draw me happy.
Oh, we'll go
Wait.
have another drink, okay?
Yeah. Have some more wine.
Feel better.
And now we're back at the last house, which is completely dark. And Reggie's upstairs and she's slowly opening the door to George's old bedroom. And she kind of sees the windows open. And again, she's like, George? And then she flips on the light and she sees it's just kind of stuff in the room. But then the lights flicker and go.
That would have freaked my ass out. I would have been running so fast.
I was running. Yeah.
I was running down the stairs.
He was, creepy. Now George and Daisy are at home and George is telling about her day and how hard it is to choose a candidate. And Daisy asks why it's so hard for her. And she says, because they all want it and they can all handle it. But who to choose? How to choose? And Daisy tells her she sounds like Hamlet, all that indecision. And then Mason shows up and he says, Rube called. There's a group reap tomorrow and they all need to dress business casual. And then he takes the record that he took from Gideon to play on their record player. And George asks where his stereo is. And he's like, oh, the crackhead he sold it to has it. and the music, he puts on this record and the music is just, it's awful. It's so bad. And Daisy is like, what is that dreadful noise? And he replies, it's the memory of something that doesn't quite match a memory. And she's like, are you drinking tonight? He says, sober as a priest. So all these memories he had when he was probably high AF. And now he's listening to this sober and he's like, this is actually awful. This is really bad.
Yeah, that's weird. I wonder how that would affect you. Would it make you want to go back to it more? Or would it make you just go I really shouldn't because this is not what life is. This is really what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess everyone's different probably.
Yeah.
But then Daisy tells George that she should let God decide. And Mason is like, don't do that because look how God has them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of feel it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Resentment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now we see Joy pulling up to her house where there are 2 cop cars out front. And Reggie had called 911 because she had heard voices upstairs there was someone in the house. The cops say there's no one there. Joy asks where the sitter is, and Reggie says she left hours ago and that she thinks she's a devil worshiper.
It's random, too. She left hours ago. I think she's a devil worshiper.
She's a devil worshiper. She had tattoos. And then the cops tell Joy that they have to call CPS because it's required anytime there's an incident with a minor. And they're like, have you been drinking? And she lies and tells them no. So they leave.
No. But she goes, of course not. And then Reggie looks at them and goes, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Fuck Reggie.
I know. She's narked on her right there. She goes, yeah. She's been drinking. At least, I don't know if they took her seriously but they just let it go.
Obviously, they let it go because they just left. And then Reggie tells her that the real estate agent had called and that she needs to call her back. But Joy's like, it's time for bed. And Reggie's like, I'm not tired. And Joy says, you want to sleep in my room tonight? And Reggie actually says yes. It's kind of shocking.
Aww.
And, they're kind of walking upstairs. She asks where the voices were coming from. And she says, the roof. And Joy's like, well, sometimes the wind in the trees sounds like voices. She's trying to comfort her a little bit.
Yeah.
George is at her dining table and she's got her candidates' files. And she narrates, I wish I could be like death. Death chooses without blinking an eye. Death doesn't gather information. Death doesn't ask questions. It just chooses. And then she grows and grabs her big fat orange death frog, sets it on the table, and it jumps onto a file. And she's like, all right, that's the winner. So she let orange death frog pick her candidate.
Well,
Yeah. So now we're at Dear Waffle House and everyone's there in their office attire except for Mason, who looks exactly the same as he always does. And we learn that this is a group job. There's one address, 13 souls. And Rube, of course, brought a pair of slacks for Mason. And Their cover is just to stand outside and smoke and basically kind of claim everyone's souls as they're going in. And so Rube hands them each a pack of cigarettes. And he was like, I'd love to see some inhaling people, and I would love it if you tried to make it look real.
Roxy's pissed. She goes, I don't smoke. She's like, well, you did today. It's all right.
Yeah. So now Joy's on the phone with the real estate agent, and we learn there is a huge expensive crack in their roof, and that basically the deal fell through. So Joy asks, like, where they would get the money to even fix the roof, and Reggie says, Dad? Joy's like, hardly.
Wait a minute. She heard voices on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they hear that they had a crack in the roof.
Yeah.
Was it that couple, or was it the people who were buying it deciding they wanted to get out of it, so they like created a crack in the roof?
No, I think probably the wind going through a crack in the roof sounded like
that's
voices.
true. That's true. Yeah. It would sound like whispering or something.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Okay, I go to a dark place. I'm like, wow.
I think the couple could just be like, we want to back out.
Yeah. Let's fuck this place up so we don't have to buy
this roof up. But so yeah, Clancy's not paying for the roof. So what's her name? Reggie is like, well, what about Grandma Phil? And Joy's like, she's not going to ask her mother. And then Reggie tells her that she misses George, and if they move, like, how will George know where to find them? So that's what she's concerned about. Now we're outside the office building, and the Reapers have kind of split up to start claiming souls, and George narrates timing. Daisy had it in spades. She didn't stop to wonder why one guy got it and not another. It was his time. That's all. And, there's kind of commotion going here and there. And then we see Anton, the Chechnyan man, walk up to George, and he thinks he's there to greet him on his first day of the job she gave him. And he's like, in my culture, a man does not easily express his feelings, but I'm grateful to start new life. Thank you. I was like, Rube looks down at his Post-it, and he sees that it's Anton's name. And as George is talking to him, Rube walks past and claims his stole, and she's kind of horrified, of course.
Man. And
as everyone is going inside, here's the trigger warning. The group is left outside of the building, and they're standing there when they see a man with a large bag walking in, and he's talking to himself, saying, volcano. That's all it is. I'm just on top of a volcano. And Rube says, I think we have our shooter. But George recognized the voice and the choice of words as Ned Benjamin, their client.
Yeah.
And, she's like, Ned Benjamin? He's like, what's it to you? And he drops his bag, and Mason goes to help him, like, don't touch my bag. He goes inside, and they're just kind of staring, and we hear 5 or 6 gunshots. Mason starts to go in, and Rube stops him. We hear a few more. Rube still tells them to wait a second, and then they hear one final one, and Rube is like, that was Ned Benjamin. And George is standing behind them, just you can see she's just visibly shaken and in shock. Which of course,
you would feel like an accomplice to this.
Yeah.
You didn't have anything to do with it really, but you had to no matter what, it's going to happen. You can't help that. But at least you can help these people move on.
Yeah. And she narrates, I actually read Hamlet in high school. The guy can't make a decision and everybody dies. I am Hamlet and everybody dies.
Damn.
And then
and that visual when he walks in there and you see him get the gun out and you see the graveling on the gun.
Yeah.
That was creepy too.
Yeah. Ugh.
It hit a little too close to home for nowadays anyway.
Mm-hmm. And she gets off the elevator at happy time, and Dolores takes her over to show her this big map of the city where there are these little pins everywhere. They've made a placement. And she's like, see the effect we have? We're like Johnny Appleseed, planting, thriving. And she says she's been trying to call Lunateca all morning, but no one is answering. And George is just like, I don't want to do this. I don't feel qualified to be choosing placements. And just then Dolores gets a phone call, and we find out she's getting the news about what happened at Lunateca. And George narrates, to everything there's a season, a time to stay, and a time to get the hell out. And for now, it's still hockey season. And we see George back at the hockey rink, and Andy's kind of practicing alone on the ice. And she continues, it seems to me you can either have someone tell you what to do with your life, or you can look somewhere else for answers. It's like you have to figure out where your gut is and then go with it. Sure beats standing around the punch bowl with the rest of the losers. And then she skates out onto the ice and introduces herself. And she says, seems to me either you show up at the dance or you just stay home. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And George and Andy skate away together.
Oh.
Oh. That's
End
the
of
end.
episode.
End of episode.
I was like, she gonna say it? I'll say it. But
End of episode.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, wow. And that whole the ending and yeah, I would love to choose employees, by the way. That would be like my bag. I think I'm really good at it.
I interviewed. I didn't get the final say, but I got to interview people, and that was fun.
Yeah. I want to get the final say.
I got to be
I
like,
think that's where everybody wants to be. But
yeah. I got to be like, yes, we should move forward. No, we shouldn't. But I didn't get to be like the.
Or at least weed them, I would like to get them down to the best possible people. So
I got to do that. It was fun.
Yeah.
People are strange. They say weird things in interviews.
They do. You're like, okay, they're nervous. They say too much or they don't say enough. And I'm one of the too much people,
Yeah.
I can't help it. Okay. So let's go on to our the funniest moments that we found in the episode, the best ones, lines, whatever. Like the first one I had written down was one we went over and it was like, you're the prettiest girl at the prom, the sluttiest girl if you're Catholic. Yeah. You get to pick.
You get to pick.
But I have like when Dolores was talking about IBS and she was like, I'm not sure, but I don't know if you know this, but Marilyn Monroe had IBS. And she goes, oh, is that what blew her skirt up? And I was like,
it's a good one. I had when they found out they sold the house and Reggie's like, are we rich? And the real estate agent's like, I usually hold off on celebration until closing escrow. Like, what's escrow? It's kind of an in-between time. Like, and Reggie goes, purgatory? Limbo? And Joy's just like, she's a reader.
When Dolores was showing her letting her listen to the voicemail from Ned or whatever, and she goes over and she hits play and it's the cat. Meow. Murray learned speed dial. He's such a good boy. And then George goes, oh, how is Murray? She goes, don't even think about changing the subject. He's okay.
Yeah. I want my cats to call me.
Speed dial. Just to hear it once, you'd be like, oh, I love you.
Yeah, my kitty. I have to go home. My kitty needs me. I like the little moment with Anton in his interview where he's like, you get me job? She's like, maybe. Want a donut? I need job, not donuts. I get job, buy donuts. Krispy Kremes.
That's what you do.
Krispy Kremes.
Okay. All right. On to our favorite characters in this episode and why. What would yours be?
I actually went with Mason in this episode.
Okay.
I feel like I go with Mason a lot because I just feel like I'm so proud of him for resisting the urge to partake in the high with his idol. And I don't know. I think he's on a journey and I like it.
You like his journey.
I like his journey.
We're glad we're on it with him.
I like that journey for you. Yeah.
Mine is an obscure one. It's Crystal. She just got more screen time in this episode altogether. Like you saw her a lot more and she was making faces and she spoke. She laughed.
Yeah.
And we get to see a little bit more of her goofy side, not just kind of creepy, but goofy. And I'm like, oh, I want more Crystal.
Yeah. I like the little back and forth ribbing she was having with George. Like, they were kind of ganging up on Dolores together about the IBS. Like, it was funny.
Okay. Your least favorite character and why?
This may be controversial. I don't know. I actually picked Dolores in this one just for dumping a responsibility on George with no warning, no direction, no training. Like she just got this
and no
job.
Time.
Yeah. So it's like, you don't just do that. You got to at least give her something. She's never done this before.
Yeah. At least let her sit in on you or somebody else doing this so that she can kind of, I don't know, audit or whatever. But so you don't just do it the same day and like throw them into the deep end and expect everything to work out. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
Some kids drown. I'm just saying. So, okay. So mine is actually another obscure one. It's Coach Brian. He's
Yeah,
an
he
abusive
sucked.
jerk, and he kind of got what he deserved.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a
So,
little too harsh with those
yeah,
kids,
the Graveling is the
essentially.
goalie. He was the icing on the cake. So,
Yeah. Yeah, little Graveling.
boom. Okay, so this episode ranking out of 5 Gravelings, 0 to 5, how many would you give this and why?
I gave it 3.
Me too.
I thought it was like a pretty well-rounded episode. I think all the storylines were interesting. It was dramatic, but still had a lot of funny moments. So
Yeah,
I
I mean,
enjoyed
it had
it.
some good moments. It had some great, like, learning parts and good, quotes and whatnot. But it feels like, I don't know what it is about this second season. There is some kind of a lag. There's some kind of like, why is this not grabbing me as much? It's still good, but it's not as good as season 1. It's like, maybe it was the sophomore slump.
Yeah.
Maybe they get past it. I don't remember. I remember there's some stuff that comes up. I know a couple things that come up and they're interesting. So I don't know if it's going to change the feeling of it or not, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
What did you think, rewatchers? Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? How many Gravelings would you give it? Reach out to us on TikTok at the Rewatch Recap and on Blue Sky. Just look up the Rewatch Recap. Follow the link tree. You can also find KA and her stuff on the show notes, the link trees and all that stuff. So come back here, subscribe, listen, share with friends, watch on YouTube. Do all that. Watch the episode for next week, which is episode 7. And, see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.